everyone. Welcome to another episode of Anything and Everything with Donna Lisa. I'm your host, Donna Lisa, and today I have a really, really special guest with me, Diane Bennett. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
So I actually am really excited for this episode because I've been following your journey from the fitness journey going into this healing journey. And I thought, you know what, that's you actually would be a perfect person to come on this show and talk a little bit about that to my audience, because I know I have a lot of viewers out there who are looking for, some spiritual journey or guidance. So I'm going to do a quick intro to you, and then we're going to definitely get started and dig in a little bit deeper into what you're doing. Um, so welcome again, Diane. For those of you tuning in and watching on my YouTube channel, Diane Bennett is a dynamic metaphysical healer and sought after empowerment and transformation health and wellness coach, former nurse, mental health advocate, intuitive life coach, mystic momma, and spiritual psychology coach on a mission to help ambitious women transform their outer physical lifestyle into an inner healing journey. She's passionate about health and wellness, personal growth, and spiritual development, and trains ambitious women in her own soul-based coaching modality known as Soulfit strength training and coaching. Having worked as a peer recovery coach, she has proven to offer a depth of unique experience and knowledge that has supported women to transform their inner and outer lives through strength training and innovative healing techniques to release anger and shed trauma wounds so they can embody an awakened, wise, and powerful soul. Inspired by her own story of childhood trauma and 10 years of substance abuse, her signature programs are designed to help individuals connect with their innermost selves and understand their spiritual journey in a deeper, more meaningful way. She is obsessed with human potential and consciousness, and her mission is to help others or help people destruct old limiting beliefs and learn embody new truths. She believes that understanding will empower individuals to live their best lives, reach their full potential, and return to a place of peace. She offers a variety of coaching and healing services, including strength training, energy healing, dancing meditations, transmuting trauma through subconscious reprogramming, and more. When she's not working, Diane enjoys spending time with her family, taking nature hikes, dancing, and playing with her Pembroke Welsh Corgi, Cooper. My daughter would love that dog because she loves corgis. With over 20 years of experience in the nursing industry, she brings a loving and nurturing perspective to her coaching and mentoring. You can also follow Diane at her Instagram handle is at dsoulsfit and dsoulfit.com. We're going to introduce that again later in the show. But welcome, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you so much to be here, Donna. It's great. Thank you.
Excited. Yeah.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm
Don't
honored
be.
to be here.
Don't be. You do amazing content on social media. I've been following you. You're like a natural in front of the camera. You offer, fitness advice, spiritual advice. So I've been following you. For those of you tuning in and viewing this on my YouTube channel, Diane and I actually go way back, 30 plus years from high school. We actually are classmates from high school. I've been following her on social media for the past, I want to say 15 years, right? And have just seen her transform herself. There's a lot of people that I'm connected with since high school that have done that, myself as well. But I love your journey. I love where you're going with this. And I think it's definitely something, especially after what's transpired the last few years with COVID and everyone dealing with a lot of trauma from that, losing loved ones and themselves getting, affected with it. I just think that this is something that a lot of people can learn from. So let's just jump in right now. I definitely want to hear how you got started with your fitness journey and how it kind of transpired into this spiritual journey that you're on right now.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that question, Donna. You know, I as I mentioned in my bio that I have a history with substance abuse. And so during this dark time in my life, as I was transitioning away from that, I needed a healthy approach to letting this go, and identifying back then as an addict, I needed fitness in my life, and I didn't know that until I started doing it, and it allowed me to release emotions that I was holding inside, that I didn't know how to release these emotions. And so fitness for me was an outlet that plugged me into, a deep inner standing of being able to fully release. And let me tell you, it was just such a cathartic feeling. And it brought me so much empowerment that I'm like, okay, I'm going in full force because identifying as an addict then, it's like, okay, well, now I need a healthy addiction. And what could that be? And for me, it was fitness. And that's the reason why I dug into it.
I love it. So when you talk about being an addict, and again, if this gets too personal at any time, you can just let me know you don't want to answer. But was this more like in your younger, earlier, like either teen years, or was it in your 20s, young adult years?
As I was a nurse, okay, I'm a
Right.
former nurse. And so I had everything at arm's length. Okay. So anything and everything that I wanted was there. If you know the story, if you know the show Nurse Jackie, that was me.
God,
So
okay.
yeah,
Wow.
and so being a nurse, having easy access to all of this, I come from from a family of addiction.
Okay.
My father was a full-blown alcoholic. My brother struggled with addiction, and no one has really been able to talk about this openly. So I'm very open with my past, and I share this to enlighten others and give them, the encouragement and the support that I needed when I was going through this. And so, spiraling out of control
Mhm.
after 10 years of taking self medicating, basically. I was
Right.
self medicating.
Okay.
And again, everything was available to me at arm's length. And so I thought back then, oh, I won't get addicted. That's only for the weak minded people. Boy, was I wrong. And so, just educating others on, proper a proper approach, especially when taking
Right.
medication. Because they're highly addictive, and they don't. There's not a lot of talk about that. It's just here, take this pill. Oh, you have pain? Yeah, here, take this pill. You have anxiety? Take this pill. And
Right.
so, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I share this openly.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, no, I appreciate that because there are a lot of people in those types of professions, especially in the medical field, where they do have access to that. And a lot of us don't think about that. I have family members who will struggle with pain as well, and you got to go see your doctor, right? Get the prescription, and sometimes they won't prescribe it, or they'll scale back on your dosage if they feel like, okay, you keep increasing it every time I see you, then scale you back a bit. But would never have thought that you guys being in the medical industry, being able to somewhat kind of abuse that, right? But I mean, it's great that you're actually bringing that up because I'm sure a lot of people may not be aware of that. I wasn't until now. So thanks for sharing that. Now, as far as the childhood trauma, is it just having you grow up with, a father or a brother who was addicted, and then just kind of dealing with that and carrying it on to your adult years as well?
It was a mix of that, Donna, and thank you for asking about that because Um, in doing my trauma work, in seeking guidance as I was I was going through a spiritual awakening
Okay.
and seeking guidance for that. And I didn't know that I had trauma. I didn't know that I was walking around with trauma energy
Right.
until I entered into a spiritual psychology school. And my teacher said, okay, first thing you got to do is you got to clear out your trauma. What trauma? I
Right.
don't have I
You're
don't
like,
have
I'm good.
trauma. What do you mean? And so I had to think back and I'm like, wow, okay. A lot of trauma. There was a lot of I was beaten as a child.
I'm sorry.
By yeah, it's something that I had to go in and work through.
Right.
And so growing up, having a sense of just not belonging in my
Mhm.
family. Growing up, my father was an alcoholic, but he was not around when I grew up. I grew up with a single mother
Okay.
of 6 kids. And
Wow.
so you can
Yeah.
imagine. My mother was never around. She was always working. She was working in the fields,
Right.
providing a roof for us and food. And
Right.
so we were like a bunch of Indians and no chiefs, you know, basically raising ourselves.
Right.
And so the trauma that I experienced came from fighting with my siblings,
Okay.
a lack of acknowledgement, a lack of respect, bullying, and so just emulating their behaviors, fighting as well with others in school. And but it really stemmed from the beatings that
Right.
I would receive from my mother, for the things that I was doing, you know, like
Right.
lying or hitting or stealing or so it was, yeah, it was a result of that. So that's where my trauma comes from. Mm.
Gotcha. And it's interesting because you're right. Most people, especially us being raised the way that we were, our generation is definitely different, right? It wasn't acceptable to say that you were feeling either depressed or lonely or just sad. And, our parents just said, deal with it, right? Um, my brother and I had parents who worked all the time. Same thing. So that kind of carried on to our adult years. That's all I do. And I didn't realize my children, two of my daughters have gone through therapy. And it's funny when it's not really funny, but it's interesting when they get out of class, session and they're like, I actually have some trauma because you were a single mom raising us and all you did was work. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about that. However, I did make time to go to all their sporting events after hours and whatnot. But what they saw was any opportunity I could work. Even now that they're older, I'm always working. And so I didn't realize that it was something traumatic that they were experiencing because all I thought, probably same thing your mother thought, was you're just providing for your family, putting a roof over their head, making sure they have a bed to sleep in, food to eat, right? And going into the spiritual journey, did you think this is something I want to, do for others and help coach them get through a lot of their trauma? When was that? Like, when
Yeah.
did you realize that that was something you wanted to share with others?
Thank you. Thank you for asking this question. You know, I didn't I didn't pursue coaching. It kind of
Okay.
fell into my lap as I was looking for spiritual guidance. And I mentioned, you know, stepping into a spiritual psychology school just to seek the guidance and learning about the trauma healing. And once I did my trauma healing and felt it was just such a cathartic feeling that I was like, wow, I need to share this. I need to
Right.
share this healing. It had such a profound impact on my life, and not only on my life, but I started to see that once I started doing my healing, my family began to heal, and it started spreading onto others.
Nice.
And so my son had been struggling in school with his grades and struggling with friendships. And I noticed that after I was doing my healing, his mental capacity increased, and we were just both rising. And I'm like, wow, I got to a point where, like, okay, my son is struggling. I need to get him tested to see if there's something going on underneath. So I spoke with, you know, the principal and the
Mhm.
school, and it was a challenge getting him tested to see if he needed an individualized education plan. When they tested him, they said, Mrs. Bennett, there's nothing wrong with your son. Your son is in the wrong classes. He's like in the lower scoring classes. His brain is not being challenged enough. He scored a 100 on this test, and the highest that we have ever gotten of any student is an 85. When they said
Wow.
that, when they said that, Donna, I knew that it was because I had done the work, that now this had spread onto my son. And
Right.
so I saw the ripple effect, and I thought, I need to share this. I have to share this with others and guide them, because it's a really profound thing to do, and nobody ever taught us this. You
Right.
know, talking about the trauma, and trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma, it is what happens within you. And it's not
Okay.
necessarily like what happened to you. It could be what didn't happen to you. Like, okay, I didn't receive the love.
Right.
I wasn't, my mom didn't show up to that Christmas parade, that Christmas show.
Right.
It could be simple as that. And so as I started educating myself on the effects of trauma energy and how it's stored in your body and it doesn't get released until you go through this process. And I'm like, I'm sitting on gold. I need to share this. I have to help others heal. And so I saw this as an opportunity and I found my calling. This
Right.
is what I need to be doing. Yeah.
And so do you, when you actually help others get through this trauma, right, and healing, how does it make you feel?
Oh my gosh. That
I'm,
is a
I'm assuming
wonderful
it's a better
question.
feeling than when you're healing yourself, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is because I know from experience. They teach us in coaching that we are our first client. And so in doing my own work and knowing the feeling that I got and just being able to clear out, once you clear out that trauma energy from within you,
Right.
your life begins to change. You're going to start noticing and you're going to want more of it. And it's like I mean, I'm sure a lot of people go through therapy and
Right.
they receive, you feel better after you talk about it and you just
Mhm.
release it, like, oh, that's a great feeling. I released all these emotions that I'm carrying. But, it's in the emotions.
Right.
Your emotions will guide you to what you need to heal. And wherever you are struggling in life, that's where we go in and find whatever limiting belief is holding you back, whether it's in your career or money, your
Mhm.
love and relationships, your creativity, or your health and vitality. Wherever it is, we can spot it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is there anyone that inspires you or what actually where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh, when you quiet the mind,
Mhm.
your soul will speak. And so I learned meditation when
Okay.
I stepped into this school. I learned the effects of meditation that it has on your body, on your mind, on your soul. And so I draw inspiration from that. When I quiet my mind, that's where I draw my inspiration. I ask, spirit, because we believe in spirit. I do. I believe in spirit and a higher power. And so when anytime you ask, the answers will come. But it's in the quieting the mind
Mhm.
that you will hear your soul speak. And so that's where I draw my inspiration in quieting my mind through meditation.
So I'm assuming you meditate every day, right? To kind of clear your
Yes,
mind. Is it like at the start of your day? Do you start with meditation or do you end it with meditation?
both.
Okay.
I wake up and the first thing I do is meditate. And my son is 15 years old. My youngest son is 15, and he's meditating with me now. During this summer, he says, "Mom, I
Nice.
want to continue strengthening my mental ability, and so I would like for you to teach me how to meditate." And so again, you're a leader.
Right.
Your kids are watching you. They are absorbing everything. Yeah, and so before you grab your cell phone, before you open up the TV or your computer or check your
Mhm.
emails, first thing I do is I imagine what my day is going to look like. And I bring that into existence. I don't let my day happen for me. I create it. And I do that by meditating first thing in the morning when I wake up.
I read that somewhere. Actually, you know what? I think I actually may have seen it on social media somewhere where somebody said, start your day off with for yourself, doing something for yourself, not for others. And the minute, because I have a tendency sometimes, of course, when I go to bed at night, I'm checking messages on social media or whatever, or emails, and then I'll put my phone down and silence it. Then I get up, and it's the first thing I'll do is grab it and go, okay, did anybody text me while I was sleeping? Anything urgent? Did anyone call me? Is there an emergency? Or I'll just get on social media, right? And they said the minute you do that, you're already taken away from yourself. And I actually just read, it's interesting that you say that because I just saw that last week before my birthday. And I was like, you know what? So I basically every day I get up, I give myself to others instead of my time to myself. So thanks for bringing that up because it's interesting how other people think that way too. So I'm actually trying to get better at that, where I'm not checking emails or text messages from family members first thing in the morning. Because of course, we have group chats with cousins and friends, and late at night, if I'm sleeping, I silence it and I miss all the activity. So I get up and I'm like, what did I miss? But learning to just take time for myself in the morning is definitely something I'm trying to do moving forward. So thanks for bringing that up. So I do want to ask a question. Anybody right now who's listening or tuning in on YouTube, just if they are interested in starting to get started into this healing type of business, somebody may be in the middle of, in between, right? Figuring out whether or not this is something they want to do. What kind of advice do you have for them as far as starting that coaching business, or, a spiritual type of healing business?
Yeah, educate yourself. YouTube, start with YouTube. There
Okay.
are a lot of videos on how to meditate, on how to start your spiritual journey. I started with YouTube.
Okay.
And once I opened up that door, the right messages were just coming to me. And you will
Right.
know when you open it up. And it's got to resonate with you. It's got to be aligned. It's got to feel genuine.
Mhm.
And you study these people. And once you study them and you feel drawn to them, there's a reason for that. It's because they're vibrating on the same level that you want to be on. And so it's calling you. And so my advice would be start there. If you don't know, start with YouTube's, Google, how to start, you know, um, a spiritual awakening, how, what kind of guidance, what do these numbers mean, or what is everything is on YouTube as like a starter, for those that are looking for
Okay.
that and just don't know where to go. Absolutely.
Awesome. No, that's actually great advice. I mean, YouTube has so much information, right? Some people, well, I think I find some information on TikTok too. Other people could disagree, but I've learned a lot about business because there are a lot of people in business that are either selling their insurance business, right? Or whether it's real estate, anything like that, even coaching. So I've learned a lot from social media. YouTube is a great resource. Thank you for sharing that. As far as you getting into this a little bit more in the future. I hear you are working on a project with a few others. You're kind of in the middle of writing a book. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, yes, thank you. A couple of us students from my spiritual psychology school,
Okay.
we have all done our trauma healing, and so we decided to come together and write about it, share our stories,
Nice.
and it's a beautiful project. It's coming out. It's in the process of being published right now as we speak, and
That's
so
awesome.
I'm excited for this opportunity, and we share our stories of triumphing
Okay.
over our traumas, and they're all different traumas. Some are over death, some are over child abuse, some are over
Mhm.
suicide and rape and murder, and
Wow.
it's a beautiful story of triumph, the
Okay.
triumph over the trauma. Yeah.
Wow. So it gets pretty deep with a lot of trauma, right?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And but the thing about this particular book, and our book is called A Bigger Mission, because that's
Okay.
what we identify with, is we are here for a bigger mission. And our mission is to educate people on doing their trauma work, because it changed our lives so much that this is what we are all doing now. We're coaching others to do this trauma healing. And once you clear out, because trauma healing is about clearing out the soul, and that's
Okay.
what we do in spiritual psychology school. We study the soul. We don't
Okay.
we don't deal with the outer. We go internal.
Wow.
And that's what trauma healing is releasing all those stored negative emotions that get trapped inside of our body, because they do get trapped.
Great.
And it's we talk about our healing process, and we talk about what you can do, how you can heal from the things that we went through. For
Okay.
instance, the addiction, or the suicide, that others talk about in the story. So it is a book about trauma, but it's also taking inspired action on
Okay.
how to heal it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So do you have an actual date of when this book is going to be officially out and published for the public?
Oh, we're still waiting on the actual release date,
Okay.
but I'm shooting for August 15th.
Nice. That's like around the
Yeah.
corner. It's exciting.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. I'm
So
excited.
with that collaboration, how many people are actually collaborating with you on this book?
There are 12, so
Okay.
there are 12 authors that are collaborating on this project. And yeah, everybody's got a beautiful story to share. And there's so much, there's even stuff about like the religious aspect of it, like coming out of there's this one of the authors talks about how she was raised in with religion and
Hmm.
how coming out the struggle coming out of that and stepping into spirituality and how
Right.
that's completely different. It's all it's the same, where it's like we believe in a higher power,
Right.
whether you call it God, universe,
Right.
Allah, source. It's all a higher power. And so we don't we do a lot of spiritual mind treatment. And what spiritual mind treatment is, it's prayer.
Okay.
It's affirmative prayer.
Okay.
And so we don't pray to a man in the sky. We pray into the universe,
Hmm.
because we are taught how to direct energy into the universe through the power of our word. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what since say I ask everybody this question, is there like a daily affirmation that you like to start your day off with or an actual routine that gets you going?
Yes, that's a really important question, and thank you for asking that. So I mentioned, I meditate in the morning,
Hmm.
and as I am sitting there meditating, this is what it sounds like.
Okay.
Okay, um, coming into this divine present moment, recognizing and acknowledging the divine intelligence and the divine power that I hold, where I get to create my day. Today, people are excited to see me. Today, I'm going to smile. Today, I'm going to laugh. Today, the sun will shine, whether it's out or not. It's going to shine within my soul, it's going to shine within my heart. And so, anything after the I am, that's where your power lies. So, if you wake up and you say, I am powerful, I am unique, I am beautiful, that's where your power lies, right there. So, what I advise people, and I strongly recommend you do this, when you wake up, you say that. You speak it into existence. I am the almighty I am. And that's where your power lies. So, yeah, that's my affirmation is, and it's different. It's
Yeah.
different because we don't always, our mood changes,
Right.
you know, based on the days. But um, in doing this, I have found that my days are a lot brighter and easier. They just flow easily.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I started when I started this podcast, I was like, okay, what am I going to start doing every day that I can get people? And I've kind of put it aside for a while just because work and life has just been busy, right? But I used to post these daily affirmations for people, and I noticed it was interesting. And I also try to do reels where I put inspiring messages, right? And when I go weeks or even a few days sometimes without posting, I'll have some friends that'll say, "Hey, I'm waiting for that, daily affirmation," because it definitely helps get them going. And I started doing this because another friend of mine who's a life coach and career coach. She started posting this on LinkedIn and social media. And I thought, I actually look forward to her little affirmations that she posts because it definitely helps you get in that mindset and start your day off like in a positive way, right? So if you get up and you start reading something that's negative, it's just going to set the tone for your day. So we definitely have to, I do that all the time just to try to keep people positive and be happy, because you never know. There's some affirmations that hit differently with others than when it does with you. And so when I'll post something, I'll get a message, and a friend of mine will say, you know what, I needed to hear that, or thanks for posting that. That was actually really motivating. So yeah, so thanks for sharing that part. I love the fact that you have this daily routine in the morning and at night, because you're starting your day off on a positive note, and you're going to bed and ending your day on a positive note too, and talking about, I'm sure, like all your successes that you've had throughout the day, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And one thing I want to add
Mhm.
and recommend, the last 5 minutes of your day
Right.
is the most important time of your day. That's when you're about to go into a dream state. Your
Right.
soul is going to roam around, and that's the moment that you want to visualize. What is it that you want to create? you
Right.
know so if you want to create, like for instance, coming on this podcast,
Mhm.
I visualized it's going to flow easily and with grace, with
And
ease and grace.
you're
I
doing so
visualize
well.
that, and so you visualize it and you create it, and it does, you're right, it does set the tone for your next day, or for whatever you're creating
Right.
into your life. It does set the tone.
Like you're manifesting a great week, right? So awesome. Thank you for sharing that. For anybody interested in finding you on social media, your social media handle, you're on Instagram, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
i'm uh,
And what
i'm
is your
under
social media handle?
I am under DEE, dot soulfit.com.
Awesome.
Not dot com. Well, that's my website.
For
But on
absolutely.
Instagram, it's D dot soulfit.
Okay, perfect. And then you have your website as well.
My website is dsoulfit.com.
Awesome. Yeah, like I mentioned to you when we were talking offline, I was on your website and thought, you know what, I'm definitely going to reach out for a session in the near future, like soon. Because sometimes I feel like there are harder weeks to get by. You know, you have a bad day either at home, like leaving the house. Sometimes maybe, I have older dogs, and sometimes the dogs are doing their business, have an accident, and it completely sets the tone. And I'm like, okay, then I get in my car driving to work, and I'll listen to a podcast for positive, thinking, right? And it definitely helps get out of that negative tone that you just left the house with. So thank you for sharing those tips. I'm excited to see you continue your journey. I love following you on social media, and hearing the messages that you have, things that you have to share, your experiences. And I am definitely excited to see you guys continue to grow, especially with your book. So thank you again, Diane. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. And I'll definitely reach out in the future for a future episode and see how things are going and what's new with you.
Thank you so much, Donna. It is an honor to be here, and I enjoyed this. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You
Bye
as
bye.
well.